everyone, welcome back to GK Today. I'm Nuzhat Sana and in this video I'll discuss today's top current and static general studies questions for UPSC Prelims Examination 2022 onwards. And these questions are framed keeping in view both the factual as well as analytical aspects of UPSC Prelims exam. Also, I would like to inform you that these questions are part of GK Today's UPSC Prelims test series, which is available in GK Today Android app. And the test series for 2022 Prelims examination comprises total of 7500 questions, divided 2500 questions on current general studies and 5000 questions on static general studies. And the series has started from May 2021 and it will end with UPSC Prelims Examinations 2022. So if you wish to access all questions of GK Today UPSC Prelims test series, you may subscribe the test series in the app. So now without wasting any further time, let's get started.
So today this is our lecture number 43 and now let's start. Question number 1. Which of the following is our correct statements about the term edge computing that was recently making news? First of all, what is edge computing? It basically refers to a distributed computing coding that is based on content delivery network. So basically it takes computing, data storage and other services closer to the end user. And content delivery network is a distributed network that consists of data centers and proxy servers. So basically it is used for getting the data closer to the end user and to provide faster delivery of data for customer websites like news sites. So cloud computing is used for delivery of various services to the users via the internet. And tools like softwares and tools for data storage can be accessed using cloud technology. Okay. Now let's see the options. It aims to deliver the content closer to the source of the request. Yes, this is right. Already I have told you that it is used for getting the data closer to the end user. And second is well-planned edge computing results in lower latency and reduces the data transmission cost. This is also right and correct answer becomes both 1 and 2. Let me explain you in more simple terms. Actually, it is defined as the deployment of data handling activities or other network operations away from centralized and always connected network segments and towards the individual source of data capture, such as endpoints like laptops and tablets. So you can say that it is an extension of cloud computing and only it differs in terms of time taken in processing the information. Also, it is predicted that edge computing would be the next biggest trend after cloud computing, and the global edge computing market is forecasted to reach more than $8 billion by the year 2025, valued growing at more than 32% between 2019 and 2025. So what are the advantages of edge computing? First of all, it is very quick. Then various technologies, for example 5G wireless technology and artificial intelligence are enabled. Then it has localized solution, means it is preferred over cloud computing in remote locations where there are limited or you can say no connectivity at all. Also it is data efficient, means the data does not need to be sent over a network as soon as it is processed. So these are some of the benefits of edge computing. The next question, which of the following terms recently in news indicate some kind of microblogging sites or social networks? First is Koo. It is a microblogging website developed in India and it is very much similar to the Twitter with regards to features like post called Koos and reposting called as Re-Koos. So it was in news because the Nigerian government has recently started using Koo instead of Twitter. Okay, so this is right. Second is Firebase. It is a platform developed by Google for creating mobile and web applications. So it was originally an independent company founded in the year 2011, and in the year 2014, Google acquired the platform and it is now their flagship offering for app development. So this is wrong. Third is Sina Weibo. This is a Chinese microblogging website, and in China, microblogging sites like Twitter and Facebook are totally banned. Fine. So this is also right. And last is Parler. It is the microblogging site in the USA, and it is considered as a Twitter alternative for users who have been blocked from mainstream social networks. So this is also right, and correct answer becomes 1, 3 and 4, option number C. Now similar to this, Tutor is another Indian alternative to Twitter, and it is derived from the Mastodon project. Now next question, with reference to the process of appointment of United Nations Secretary General, consider the following statements. First statement says, United Nations Secretary General is appointed for a term of 5 years by United Nations General Assembly. Yes, this is right. And UNGA is composed of total 193 members. And the appointment is based on the recommendation of United Nations Security Council, which is composed of total 15 members. Now second statement says, while permanent members of UN can veto selection of UN Secretary General, the non-permanent members have no say in the same process. Actually, the permanent members of UNSC can veto the selection of the Secretary General, and the 5 permanent members are China, USA, UK, France and Russia. So though the non-permanent members of United Nations Security Council do not have any veto powers with regards to the selection, but their vote is crucial as a candidate requires 9 out of 15 votes to be recommended for the post. So we cannot say that the non-permanent members have no say in the process at all. Okay, so this is wrong. Correct answer becomes option number A. Now why it was in news? Because recently the United Nations General Assembly has appointed Antonio Guterres as the 9th United Nations Secretary General for his second term that begins from 1st of January 2022 and it will be ended in 2026. Also, India had expressed its support for the re-election of Antonio Guterres as a United Nations chief. Actually, Mr. Antonio took oath of office on 1st of January 2017 and his first term ends on 31st of December 2021. Also, he was the former Prime Minister of Portugal. Talking about United Nations General Assembly, it occupies a central position as the chief deliberative, policy-making and representative organ of United Nations. And already I have told you, it has 193 members and it provides a unique forum for a multilateral discussions of international issues covered by the Charter. And talking about the non-permanent members of UNSC, these are elected for a term of 2 years. Also, it was in news because recently India has been elected in this team. Now, let's see some of the important functions of UN. First of all, it maintains peace and security. Then it protects human rights. Also, it delivers humanitarian aid and it promotes sustainable development and also upholds international law. And United Nations was founded in 1945. Fine. Next question. With reference to the general structure of a dam, consider the following. First is full reservoir level. What is this? Actually, it is the highest level that can be maintained in a reservoir without the water being discharged through the spillway or being passed downstream via various ways. Okay. Then second is maximum water level. It is also known as highest reservoir level or highest flood level. This is the highest water level that is likely to be attained during a design flood. Okay. Third is dead storage level. What is this? This is the level of storage in a reservoir below which the water cannot be drawn simply using gravity. This is the point where it is called dead storage level. Okay. And last is live storage level. It is the storage level in the reservoir that is available for intended purposes like, for example, power generation, flood management, etc. Okay. Now, which of the following is the correct order of the above from top to bottom? So we have to set it in an order. So first of all, there would be maximum water level, then full reservoir level, after that live storage level, and last is dead storage level. So correct order would be 2, 1, 4, 3. Correct answer is option number C. Now coming to last question. Which of the following drugs is used by sports persons to speed up recovery from injuries and infections and also recommended by World Health Organization in treatment of severe cases of COVID-19? So this is dexamethasone, and it is an anti-inflammatory drug, or you can say anti-inflammatory steroid drug used by the sports persons to speed up recovery from injuries and infections. And WHO recommends its use in treating severe cases of COVID-19. So correct answer is option number B. But let's analyze other options as well. First is remdesivir. It is an antiviral drug that was initially used for treating MERS and Ebola virus in the year 2014. And it is administered intravenously for treating COVID-19 as well. Then third is posaconazole. It is an antifungal drug that is being used for treating cases of black fungus infection. And last is amphotericin B. It is also an antifungal drug that is used for treating black fungus infections. Also, it has been administered intravenously. Okay. So that's it for today. I hope you have liked the session. If you want to give any review, feedback or suggestion regarding these lectures, you can tell us in the comment section. Definitely we'll try to implement that. And now we'll meet again tomorrow with 5 more new and interesting questions. Till then, stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching. And please do not forget to subscribe to GK Today. With this, me Nuzhat Sana signing off.